This is Joshua Half JTH Boxing. Today I'm back over Zoom and I'm joined by my good friend Dave Allen. Dave, first of all, thank you very much for joining me today. And how are we doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. I'm very well. How are you?
Doing very well. Obviously, it was my birthday yesterday. Finally, no longer being able to milk the 17-year-old boxing reporter card. We're now 18. Still went training last night though. Did a little bit of training and then went out. But here we are today. A lot of big news has come out over the last couple of days since we last spoke on just Friday. Um, Before we go into everything, we'll just do a little flashback to Friday. Obviously, I know we spoke directly afterwards, but just obviously, it's all not necessarily blown over. It's all a lot more calm now. I'm sure you'll be able to break down both Joe and Stevie's performances. But how do we reflect on Friday night just a few days afterwards?
It's been and gone now. Um, that's how I feel. When I had big wins or big losses. A few days later, it's done. It's gone. It's over. Stevie won, and then 45 minutes after, what's next? You know what I mean? I leave her to enjoy it, but straight away it's like, what's next? What's happening now? What's the plan? What's the next step? And maybe you should enjoy life more, but I'm not about enjoying life. I'm about
Uh,
what's next. So yeah, that's it really. Just for both of them. Glad they won. Good performances, but let's get cracking with what's next. And already working on that now. So it's all about the next one. The next one's
Obviously,
always the biggest, no matter what the last one was.
with Joe, obviously, I'm sure it's a little bit easier to plan out what's next. Obviously, when I spoke to him, his post-fight interview that I did with him, he mentioned that obviously now it is going to be up in the levels to the six rounders. Um, Obviously, when would you like to next see him out in the ring? Obviously, if you're going to be stepping up the rounds, I know preparation is going to remain fairly the same, but it'll
Yeah.
probably be a little bit more demanding come fight night. Um, so how do you help him rise to that level? Obviously, not just in the ring, but in training as well to prepare for more rounds.
Yeah, he's had 12 fights in 18 months, but been 4 round contest. I've been at a low level, so you can do that. Stepping up to 6 rounders with better opposition, it requires more time in preparation and more time, rest afterwards. He's always been straight back in the gym after these fights. They've been like he's been a level above, been like sparring for him, been like a spar with a whole load of nerves. So yeah, things will change somewhat, but he prepares like it's a world title fight every time. Diet, rest, is everything right. So not much will change really. Um, he's been preparing like a world title fight since day one. Even his amateur contest, he was working hard. So Catchall Taylor fight's just been announced. He was a sparring partner for the rematch that was meant to happen the first time. So maybe we're back over there. I'm not sure, but he's going to box June. The latest he will box is July, end of July. That's the latest we will wait. So June or July, do a 6 round contest with a step up in opposition, and we'll go from there.
And obviously, throughout his career, obviously, while he's been picking up the round, obviously, some people are highlighting the fact that obviously he's not recorded a stoppage yet. Do you feel as the rounds increase, there'll be a lot more time for him to break an opponent down and find the stoppage? We've seen a lot of his fighters that he's fought come and just tend to cover up and just survive, and it's always a lot harder to create the opportunity for a stoppage when they're not giving anything back. Do you feel as these rounds go up, he'll be able to start pulling in the stoppages?
Well, like I said, I told him the other day. I said, look, you're going to box better fighters than you're fighting now, but they won't be as tough. That's the truth. I boxed top class boxers, and they were nowhere near as tough as some of the German I boxed. Joe's boxed 11 different opponents, and they've all been hard as nails. They don't get stopped. Some of them have had 3 digit figure amount of fights. You know, nobody's stopping them. So I didn't expect Joe to stop any of them really. Um, and more than that, I didn't really want him to either. I didn't want him to stop any of them. So I didn't put any pressure on him with that. I'm not bothered for stoppages. We're bothered about winning. And at this level, I told him, if you have a hard fight with any of these guys you're boxing in this first 18-month period, you're not going nowhere. Don't want exciting fights. Do you know what I mean? I want good performances. I want wins. Don't drop a round. So 48 rounds hasn't lost one. So I said if you lose one round out of these 48, you're not going nowhere. You can't afford to lose rounds to these guys because they're negative. And realistically, if you're going to go anywhere, you've got to be winning every round because Do you know what I mean? So he's done what I've asked of him. Now I move up to 6 rounds. I'll be asking different questions of him, and I do want to see stoppages as we step up the opposition because there'll be more openings for it. These guys aren't defensively as sound as some of the people who've been boxing. There'll be more gaps, and I envisage you will get more stoppages. However, as long as he keeps winning, I'm not really bothered.
Obviously, I know you mentioned the fact that he's been sparring up with Catterall. Obviously, like I said earlier as well, tonight we have had the official announcement, April 27th at the First Direct Arena in Leeds. Josh Taylor and Catterall will settle all bad blood. We'll see it all come to an end that night. Um, Obviously 2 years in the making. I feel like anyone who's in boxing and seen the first fight will remember exactly how it all went. Um, but just I think all boxing fans are glad to see this fight's been made now. I'm sure you're very excited. How do you see that fight going?
The first fight I was at an amateur boxing show with one of my boxers in Scunthorpe. I never watched it live. My mate had it on his phone in the back of the car, and he was like, "Catterall's winning this easy." And you know what? I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I was in Jamie's gym before that fight, like maybe 6 months before. I thought Taylor was going to win. I'm not going to lie. I thought Taylor was going to win. I thought Catterall was a very good fighter, but I just thought Taylor would be too much. I thought Taylor was the elite of the elite, and my mate was in the back of the car saying, "He's beating Taylor easily." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Mate, he's beating him." I'm like, "Really?" Gets to the end of the fight, he said, Catterall's won easily. And I was shocked. And then the decision was read out, and obviously it went to Taylor. My mate was shocked, and I was like, interesting. I'll watch it back. And yeah, Catterall won the fight. I don't think there's any dispute in that. No one really argues that. It has been a long time in the waiting. Like I said earlier, it's been tried to have been made before. Joe was sparring Jack. Trying to think how long ago it was. It was a bit ago now. So yeah, there's a lot of bad blood. It'll sell well, and it's a good fight. But for me, I think there's only one winner, and that's Jack Catterall. Um, he's active. He won the first fight. He's active, and it's at 140, which I think maybe the biggest advantage of the lot.
Obviously, I think a big talking point will be the weight. We've seen Josh Taylor how he's struggled, and he has said in the past that his 140 days are over. Clearly not. Do you feel it's a very bad mistake from him to pick this fight at 140?
Yeah, I was shocked. Really, I was shocked. I thought after the first fight against 147, stuck around, let's say over 2 years now. Um, Obviously, we don't know yet. The fight hasn't happened. I'm only giving my opinion, but I think it will hurt him. Yeah, Jack is a consummate professional. Jack, I've been in the gym with him. Jack's like one of them teachers' pets, isn't he? You've seen him. You know what he's like. He does everything properly, which obviously is great. It's amazing, really. I admire him, but I have to take the piss because I'm not like that. Um, but he's amazing, really. I say to Joe all the time, Jack Catterall, Scott Quigg, Kid Galahad, the three most professional men I've seen. So I think the 140 will suit Jack, and I think it will be a big factor in the result.
Do you think Jack could get the stoppage in this one?
Possibly. I mean, Jack can punch a lot harder than people think. People think he's not a puncher, but he is. Seen him in the gym firsthand. He can punch, but he's safety first. He's a safety first. He's just a brilliant boxer. He's not getting it for nothing, But he can punch when he chooses to. And Josh Taylor might be the opponent that brings it out of him.
No, obviously we'll move the attention away in the heavyweight division. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Wardley Clarke. I've already spoke to you about that. But another thing that's popped up today, the English heavyweight title, has been decided. The fight between Solomon Dacres and David Adeleye. Apparently, it's all been
Mhm.
agreed. Adeley's being cleared. That fight will take place on March 16th. How do you see that fight playing out?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's
I
news to
only
me.
found it. I know they wanted to make the fight, but Adelaide still wants
Yeah,
to have his hearing. But obviously they put the board put out their monthly curriculum thing, and I was just looking through it and I saw that they've approved Dacres versus Adelaide.
I think that's a great fight. Then, yeah, it's a great fight. I think the loser. I don't think there's anywhere to go for the loser, to be honest. Um, the winner hopefully gets the Wardley Clarke winner, but the loser really, there's nowhere to go, in my opinion. So I take my hat off to them both. But yeah, the pressure's on because the
Obviously, you
loser
talk,
really got nowhere to go.
obviously, you talk about the winner obviously wanting Wardley Clarke, but then the board have also put in saying that the winner has to then face Moses Atalma, and Moses Atalma has then responded to this and said, "Say no more. He's ready for it." So it all seems to be heating up in this domestic heavyweight division, doesn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. It's a good division as well. The Talma looks to be the real deal. I know we haven't seen too much of him, but his amateur background. I know people that watch him in the amateurs, and they said he was the real deal. I've heard sparring stories you wouldn't believe. Um, but yeah, it's a great mix at the minute, and yeah, it'll be interesting how it all plays out. And the old man here is just sat waiting to pick up some pieces. Yeah, I'm just waiting to pick the pieces up at some point.
Obviously, if we're to break down, not necessarily break down, but if you were to pick a winner between Dacres and Adeleye, who would you go? Who would you side with?
I'd probably go off the back of the last performances. I would go Adeleye, even though he was in defeat and Dacres won. Dacres was poor last time, but I spoke to his manager and they said he didn't have a camp at all for the fight with short notice because of the debut for Frank Warren. I would go Adeleye on the previous performance, but prior to that, I would go Dacres. A lot of amateur experience, big, fit. Don't think he's a puncher, but he's pretty good. So Adelaide's good as well. And the experience of the Wardley fight will put him in good stead. But a stoppage defeat is always hard to come back from in the same breath as what I've just said. So I would go Dacres, but neither result would surprise me. And then the winner boxing at Talma, as much as it seems, the 7-fight 19-year-old novice will be the favourite. So yeah, really interesting. And Wardley Clarke's interesting. Um, and there's many more heavyweights as well. The heavyweights coming through, so it's a really good mix at the minute. And and it's nice for me. I started when Joshua was coming through. I was Joshua Dillon White time, and now I'm part of this new domestic scene as well. And hopefully still play a part in that. Um, so I've seen them all come and go. Some are the real deal, some aren't. There'll be bubbles that will be burst over the next 12 months, and there'll be some going to big things. So that's boxing and that's life. But I look forward to it.
Obviously, you mentioned that you'll be waiting to pick up the pieces. You're back in the ring in April, just a little four-rounder. But what was it that has made you want to get back in the ring? So obviously, there's been times where you fought. Obviously, after the Fraser Clarke fight, a lot of people were saying Dave Allen's finished. There's no point in him stepping back. But obviously, you want to step back into the ring. What is it that makes you want to keep getting back into the ring?
Um, I enjoy it, mate. To be honest, I enjoy it. First of all, secondly, the Clarke fight, while it wasn't great, I thought if this is British title level. I've not really boxed for 4 years. This is fine, and I've always thought I want to box Nick Webb. Um, that's my level. To be honest, I am that level. To beat me, you are beyond that level. The Clarke fight, I wasn't at my best, but I still thought I still got something to give. Very experienced now. So these young kids that are coming through, they're going to beat me. They're going to have to be the real deal for definite. And I've got something to live. I've still got something to give. There's some money to earn. Um, so yeah, I feel good. I feel fresh. And now I've had the Fraser Clarke fight, and the financial stability that gave me. I can have 6 9 months now having a few fights and getting some rounds, and then have another go. So I'm only 31. Um, I don't mind what the people say because most of them haven't got a clue what they're talking about, so I don't take it in. So I'm just going to do what I do. I don't. I never. It annoys me because you don't see me on Instagram. I don't go to my mate who's a builder and start telling him that he's not doing the brickwork right because I don't know what I'm talking about. So I shut my mouth. That's how I am. I was brought up. Shut your mouth. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't say anything. But we don't live in a society where that actually it's frowned upon to not talk shit. So that's how it is. It's not that I don't care. A lot of it comes from a good place, but it's irritating. I know what's left. I know what I can do. I know what I can't do. I know my limitations. I'm not deluded. So we'll just crack on. And there's a couple of big fights left in me yet, to be honest. Will I win them? I'm not sure. Am I good enough? I don't know. My track record says no, but I've got a little bit left, and there's still money to earn. I'm the father of young kids. This is my job as well as what I love to do. So we crack on.
So what is the plan for you? Is it just to take it fight by fight, or have you got a destination that you want to reach in these next few fights that you've got mapped out for yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of just a fight at a time, really. But at the same time, the goal from day one was always to be British champion, and it still is. I still don't think it's out of reach. People can say what they want, but I put bums on seats. People tuning at home. You're only ever a couple of wins away in the heavyweight division from a big fight. So, look at Wardley and Clarke. The winner of that will move on. I don't see myself out of place with Adeleye, Dacres. The time was still young. I don't see myself as a underdog with any of them, really. To be honest, I'm definitely a test for all of them. So yeah, I'm not shouting that. I'm not shouting from the rooftops I'm the best fighter in the world because I'm not. But I'm certainly not a mug, and with good preparation and a bit of activity, they'll all get a serious test.
So you mentioned Wardley Clarke, and this is something that's popped into my head now. You also talk about in the heavyweight division only being a few fights away from a big fight. Um, when you look at Wardley Clarke, whoever is to lose that, who do you feel would have the harder comeback if they lost? Because obviously Wardley's had a lot more fights in the pro game compared to Clarke, but I feel like there's a lot more noise about where Clarke can go. So do you feel, let's say Fraser was to lose against Wardley, do you feel it'd be a lot harder for him to come back?
This is 2024. Like this is 1954. It don't make a blind bit of difference who loses because you fight again in 3 weeks' time and you crack back on. Anyone can have a bad night, but in 2024 you can't afford to lose. A 32-year-old going on 33 this year, you can't afford to lose in modern day boxing because his finish is done. You know, and it's not right. I don't think that's the case, but that's how it is. If you can't be world champion in this day and age, you shouldn't be boxing, and that's the average boxing fan's thought process on fighting, and it's wrong. But Fraser Clarke really can't afford to lose this fight. Where does he go? He hasn't impressed as a pro so far, and if he loses this, does he really want to kick back on an English title level? Probably not. As for Wardley, still young enough and fresh enough to probably come back and still have another go. But like people say to me after a couple of losses, "You're going to start now? What for? You're not going to be world champion, yeah?" And you don't see professional footballers in the conference saying, "Not going to play. I'm not going to make the Champions League. I'm not going to make the World Cup. I might as well stop now." Bullshit. I hate it. I wish I was born 100 years ago. Well, I do, but I'd be dead already now. So probably I don't wish I was born, then I'd already be dead now, wouldn't I? But you know what I'm saying, don't you? It's just bullshit. Just let us crack on. As long as we're medically cleared to compete, let us do our thing. Let us earn a living as well. I don't go to my local shop where the old woman works and say, "Come on, you're 63 now. You shouldn't be here now. You should be packing in. Come on." No, because a pension ain't coming for another fucking 20 years with the current government we're in. So let her fucking do a thing, even if she's a bit slow with it. Do you know what I mean? It's so annoying, isn't it? Let me fucking live. Let me do my thing. I'm not going to be world champion, but this is my job. Loads of people aren't good at the job, but we still let her fucking crack on. Do you know what I mean? And I'm pretty good at it. I'm not the best at it, but I'm pretty good at it. So let's just let. Oh God, you got me going there. What day is it? It's a Thursday night, man, and I'm getting irate. But yeah,
I was gonna say, look, obviously you mentioned saying that you are pretty good at it. If we look at the whole of the British population, you are probably right up there. Obviously, I think all professional boxing are gonna be right up there, and especially when you've got these people sat behind the screen, normally with no profile picture, just dropping comments on Instagram, Twitter, whatever social platform, just saying, "No, I'm not being funny. People are gonna watch this video, and I'll guarantee it now. There'll be comments on this video saying Dave Allen needs to retire. I'll guarantee it now."
Dave Allen's a
Um,
bum. But I don't mind. I'm easy going, really, very easy going. I was brought up by my dad, who was a small man with a very short temper. But I was never that way inclined, really. I watched his behavioural patterns, and when I got to 6'3" at the age of 18, 14 stone, and I just thought I don't want to be that guy, really. Very easygoing. I try and be nice to everyone, but at the same time, I don't take no shit either. But on the internet, you have no choice. You have no choice. You just read the comments and you just go, "What a prick you are! What can you do?" You just go, "Yeah, you're a prick." But I don't know you are. So what can you do? I'm easygoing now. Years ago, like 7, 8 years ago, I'd be in people's inboxes like, "Who the fuck are you talking to?" But as you get older, I've got kids now. I don't mind me. I can take it though. I can take anything that's said really because someone's opinion. I'm not gonna argue with them because I know if they met me and spent some time with me, they'd probably think I was a nice fella. So I don't really let it get to me anymore.
Lastly, I just want to quickly turn our heads back to last weekend. We saw Hamza Sheeraz versus Liam Williams at the Copper Box, a fight that a lot of people were saying was Hamza's biggest test, and it proved to be Hamza's biggest night. A lot of people saying a star is born. Frank Warren calling it, saying he's almost like Tommy Hearns. A very impressive performance from Hamza. But a lot of questions were raised about Liam Williams' punch resistance, especially from when you look back prior in his career to some of the fights he was in where the Eubank fight sticks out for me where he got dropped 4 or 5 times and kept coming, whereas against Hamza, he just could not seem to deal with that power. But Hamza's got a very awkward style. But what did you make of Williams versus Sheeraz?
I think Sheeraz is good, but and I like Liam Williams a lot. You know, he was a great fighter. I think he was I would say it was a great fight. He was really good, but he was shot to pieces. And anyone that knew boxing knew he was shot to pieces. Punch resistance all gone. It was what it was. They paid him a lot of money to come and make Hamza Sheeraz a superstar. That's it. That's the top and bottom of it. Any middleweight in the top 10, 15 in the country would have wiped him out that night. And that wasn't the real Liam Williams. I didn't enjoy watching it because what a good fighter he's been. And they paid him a lot of money to get wiped out and around. So I didn't enjoy it really. Sheeraz is good. He could be the real deal. But he weren't his biggest test at all. Not even close at this point. Um, they're still to come. So hopefully he boxes the Heaney Paul's winner because I think that's the level he's at right now. He's not proven to me that he's anything above that. He beat a midget over in his last fight with some midget Ukrainian lightweight. Then he struggled with Skeet. So while I think he's got the potential to go very far, I still think Heaney Paul's winner is about his level for the British title at the moment. How far he can go, I'm not sure. Maybe go all the way. Hopefully he does. But right now, more questions than answers still. The Liam Williams fight for me, it infuriated me. I didn't enjoy it, to be honest. That's right, again, when people know when fighters, I think the punch resistance is gone. If my punch resistance had gone, you wouldn't see me in a ring, you know? So it's a shame. So I really like Liam Williams. It really irritated me. But Sheeraz is good.
Do you feel, obviously, all this noise being made now afterwards? Do you want? Obviously, it's very clear to see you disagree with it. So do you feel there's still more tests to come for Hamza? And while people are saying, obviously, all the people at Queensbury are saying a star is born, do you feel we're still waiting to see that star be born?
Yeah, I think he's good, Sheeraz. I think he's really good. I think he's really good. I like him. Everything about him's good. The way he carries himself, everything. But I think that Liam Williams, he just pissed me off because I like Liam Williams and he just got smashed to pieces. And that's a shell of him. It was just a shell of Liam Williams, you know? So we need to see more. Yeah, I want to see him in with Heaney or Pauls. That's the common sense fight. And I think Sheeraz is he seems like a smart fella and the people around him be smart. And they will probably know that as well. So I beat Lucas Brown. Didn't beat the best Lucas Brown. I beat an old, probably past it Lucas Brown. So, and that's fine. That's boxing. That's how you try and build. That's how you try and build fighters. You build on the back of the ones that have gone before. But he's still got a long way to go for me till you can talk about him as a superstar for sure.
They finally just I was actually no, the one thing I do need to drag you up on. We need to get this patio trip sorted for me to get me trained up. We're just over 5 weeks away from fight night for me now. Um, so we need to get that sorted. Any words of wisdom and advice you could pass on to me here, though, while we're here? Because obviously I've never set foot in a ring for a fight. This will be the first time I do it. You're an expert. You're an expert with this. You've done it many times. What can I expect come fight night?
People always ask me about boxing, and what I always say to them is, unless you're going to be a professional boxer who's going to earn a living for you, do not get punched in the face. You've not listened to my first bit of advice, so we'll just move on to the second bit. The first fight you ever have is the hardest fight of your life. Whether you're 12 years old and you're fighting in the school playground, or whether you're having an amateur fight at 15, or your charity bout at 18, it's just the hardest experience of your life, you know. And with boxing, the kids the same size, the same experience. It's tough. It's going to be hard. So all I can say is get as fit as physically possible, and that's about it, mate. Because everything else will go out the window. Your first fight goes. I had Joe's brother had his first amateur fight the other week. Spent hours and hours saying, "Do this, do that, do this." The bell went. After 30 seconds, it became pretty evident the kid who wanted to win that fight most were going to win it, and the fittest kid. And that's how it played out, and that's how it usually does. So I think you're mad for doing it, but if you're going to do it, mate, then do it properly.
Dave, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll speak again very, very soon. Thank you.
That's mate. Thank you.
Where's the end button? Oh.